Hey everyone, in this video we'll provide you with a few practical tips for selling a townhouse here in New York City. I'm Nick at Houseit. Visit our website, houseit.com, to learn how to save money if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent in New York City, Long Island, Westchester, the Hudson Valley, or here in South Florida. So let's get started. So the first tip for looking to sell your townhouse is to make sure that you actually have access to your property. So I know that sounds extremely obvious, but the reality is we see it all too often that somebody lists their townhouse and then they literally cannot get access to it. The tenants will not cooperate, and then you basically have a line of people who want to see the place, you can't show it to them, and many of these buyers get frustrated and give up, buy another property, and by the time you've sorted out the access issue with your tenant, you've essentially lost all momentum for your sale. So needless to say, the outcome in that situation is really going to be rather suboptimal. So just make sure that you've had that conversation with your tenants, that you're on good terms, and just make sure as well that expectations are clearly set with respect to how often you will be disturbing them for showings. We recommend grouping showings into a 1 or 2 hour window on a consistent day every week, most likely a Sunday if possible, and perhaps one other time during the week. So, really just trying to minimize the amount of time that you bother the tenants. So that is the first tip, making sure you can actually get access to your own home to show prospective buyers. The second tip for selling your townhouse in New York City is to make sure that you've cleaned the windows and removed any sort of pigeon debris that might be on the ledges or anything in that general area. The reality is that most townhouses in New York City are only 20 feet wide. The typical lot size is 20 by 100, so you really don't have a lot of width, and you don't have a lot of windows to let light in. So if the windows are dirty, if there's pigeon poop everywhere, it really will have a huge impact in terms of the brightness factor, which honestly is one of the main drivers of interest and attention for a listing. So even if your property is like an estate sale, even if it hasn't been gut renovated in 30 years, it really does not matter. Lighting can really bail you out. So make sure you invest that small amount of money to have a crew come and power wash, ideally the facade as well as the steps up to your entrance and obviously all of the windows. The third tip for selling your townhouse in New York City is to make sure that you have cleared any pending DOB violations. Now this should never come as a surprise. When you have an accepted offer, you should be positioning towards going into contract and closing as quickly as possible. You can easily check the Department of Buildings website to see if you have any outstanding violations, and you should proactively attempt to clear these, ideally well before you even list the property, but at a minimum, definitely try clearing them the moment you have any sort of real interest or certainly an accepted offer. It can be a pretty laborious process to clear violations, so just make sure that you take care of that, ideally before you list your property. So in conclusion for this video, we gave you 3 tips for selling your townhouse here in New York City. The first tip is to make sure that you actually can access your own home. If you have tenants, have that conversation with them in advance. Don't be waiting to show the property to buyers who are lined up and then squander all of the demand because you can't show your home. The second tip is to make sure that you've cleaned the windows thoroughly, ideally with a power wash, the facade as well as the steps and the front yard of your townhouse. And the third tip for selling your townhouse in New York City, again, is to just make sure that you have cleared any sort of outstanding DOB violations on your home. You can easily look this up in advance, so it should not be a last-minute exercise to clear them once you have an accepted offer or once you're already in contract. So we hope you found this video to be helpful. We'll come out with additional videos with more tips for selling a townhouse here in New York City. That's all for now, and if you have any comments, leave them below in this video or send an email to team@houseit.com. I'm Nick at Houseit, based here in Miami, Florida. Give us a shout if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent in New York City, Miami, South Florida, Hudson Valley, Long Island, Westchester. We can save you money regardless of what you're looking to do. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.